Hi everyone, I am here today to talk about my 2025 reading plans. I have a giant TBR and some kind of goals to focus on this year, so let's dive in and pass more books. I guess I kind of lied. I don't really have goals so much as a vision for what I want my reading year to look like. I don't really love setting a number goal for how many books I want to read because I have a very busy mom life and it's just a little bit too much. It's too stressful to try to aim for a number. What I want to focus on instead is just making sure that I feel like I can focus on the books that I'm loving reading, and I don't want to be pressuring myself to be finishing books that I'm not enjoying, So the first thing that I want to really focus on is just making sure that I am making time for reading every day. Like I said, I have a busy mom life. I'm also working part-time as a freelance editor. It's a lot. So some days are a little crazy and it is hard to get a lot of reading done. But what I would like to focus on is just making time right before bed, just 15 minutes, even if I'm already in bed, just a little bit of time to squeeze in a chapter or two, right? So that's what I'm hoping to do, is that if nothing else gets done reading wise, let's get in a little bit of time right before bed. Like I said, I kind of want to follow my mood with reading. Right now, I am really into epic fantasy and really unique world building. So I just want to not feel like I have to read, I don't know, the next big thing that everybody's talking about. So that's really just kind of an inner thing. Not that I've had a lot of pressure before. And the only other kind of vision thing that I have for next year, again, not a lot of specific goals, but I really want to balance my physical TBR with ebooks and audiobooks that I also want to read. I have a very long list of books that I'm interested in on a note in my phone. And I also have a very big pile right next to me of books that I am interested in. So there's a lot to go through, and I feel like in the past I was really, really good at balancing when I was reading physical books versus not physical books, and it's been a little more difficult lately, I think, especially because when I've tried to do audiobooks lately, there's just too much going on in my home with my kids needing my attention and different things, and so it's just been harder to listen to audiobooks for me lately. So I think I want to be just a little bit more conscious about choosing times when I know I can listen more freely and I don't have so much competing attention. But also just making sure that I feel balanced when I have a physical book and an ebook, that I don't feel too tug of war going back and forth between them. I used to not really have that issue again, and it seems like lately I have a certain book that I'm more inclined towards reading. So I think I want to make sure that I and giving space for the book that I'm most excited about, really. And then I think that will help me get around to all of the things. That's what we're aiming for. And now I'm going to go through my giant TBR list. And I'm going to focus mostly on my physical list that I'm working on, but there's a lot out there that I want to read. So first of all, of course, I want to finish Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. It is so good and I'm so close. Do you see that? I'm on day 9 of day 10 and it is so intense. I think I'm going to finish this pretty fast, but I had to, bring it up because it's so good. And I'm honestly a little bit nervous that after I finish that I will have a bit of a void in my heart and not really feel like reading much else. Because it might be a lot. I experienced that after finishing The Wheel of Time for the first time. It was nothing else could satisfy me until actually I discovered more of Brandon Sanderson's works. I hadn't really read any Brandon Sanderson before that. But I'm hoping that I can jump right into something good. I have The Dragon Riders of Pern actually on hold on Libby. That is coming in the next few days. So I am interested in that because I've heard it's really epic and that it was an inspiration for a lot of Sanderson's work. So I'm hoping that won't feel too old and that it'll be fun. I also am planning to read this month Half a King by Joe Abercrombie because my book club picked that to read this month, and I'm so excited because I've been wanting to read Joe Abercrombie for a really long time. I've been kind of nervous to get into his books because I'm not sure that grimdark really sits with me well, but I heard that Half a King, the first novel in his YA series, I've heard it's scaled back a little bit because it is YA. So I'm hoping that it'll be just the right fit for me and that it won't feel like the aspects of YA that I don't really jive with, and that it also won't be too grimdark. So I'm just hoping it's really epic and awesome, and I'm excited. So I'm hoping those two books will help fill the void after finishing Wind and Truth. I also really need to read this book that a friend wrote and gave me to be a beta reader for, and I've been really bad at not reading it because I've been so focused on my my Stormlight Archive reread and getting through Wind and Truth, which I think is good that I made time and space for that. But I'm hoping that I can also sneak in some reading of, I believe it's called The Moon Jewel by my friend Eliza. She's awesome and you should check out her book. But I'm going to get around to reading that, and I'm so excited to see what she's done with it. Surprise, surprise, I want to read a nonfiction history book. I've been following Sharon McMahon on Instagram for years, and I really love her and her work, and I've been really excited to read Small and the Mighty. I'm hoping it'll be really quick and fast. I've heard, it's not too, it's tiny compared to the epic novels that I've been reading. So I don't know exactly when I'm going to squeeze this in, but I think whenever I feel like I truly need a break, or wherever I feel like I can pair this alongside, like maybe while I'm reading my ebooks, the Dragon Riders of Pern and Half a King, this might be like the good like physical book to have like to reach for during that time, because it'll be something kind of different and might pair along well with it. So I'm hoping for that. After that, a book that I've had on my TBR for way too long that I really want to prioritize this year is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I picked this up, I think, for my birthday last year from Barnes & Noble, and I have not given it time yet. But I'm so excited because I've heard amazing things about it, and look how thick it is. And I believe there's 4 books in this series that are just as long, and I've just heard such good things about it, and I'm really excited for another epic fantasy, right? So this is one that I really want to prioritize and get to. Another book that I'm really excited to hopefully prioritize along with The Grace of Kings is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Again, I've heard really good things, about all of her books, but so I haven't read any Robin Hobb yet, and everybody always loves the, what is it called, the Farseer trilogy with Finn, and he's like an assassin, and it's really epic, and apparently, I don't know, I've heard a few things about it, and I feel like I've noticed that I haven't been super into the assassin trope, so I've been worried that I wouldn't really love that series just based on what I've heard about it. But based on what I have heard of Ship of Magic, that I think I would like it a lot more. And if I remember right, this is in the same world, but just like a different story that you don't need to have read the other series to understand. But it sounds really cool, and I'm really excited. There's like a sentient ship, which sounds really cool. So it's, again, nice and thick. Maybe not quite as thick as some of these others, but still a nice, big, epic fantasy. I'm excited for it. I also recently got this little tiny one, Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, from a book club book exchange for Christmas. And it sounds fun and great, and I've heard really good things about Kingfisher, so I think this is a great way to dive into their books. I actually don't know if it's a boy or a girl author, sorry, but it's really short, so I'm hoping I can slip it in easily, and I think I need it at a time when I'm in the mood for a short book, right? To contrast that, here's another kind of longer book, especially because like the print is so tiny and the pages are so full. It's longer than you think. So The Silmarillion. I have been meaning to read this for years, and I technically started it. I was reading this essay in the beginning that Tolkien wrote that was just a little bit, I don't know, I was having a hard time staying focused and getting it. So I think I might just have to skip the essay in the beginning. Oh look, I still have my bookmark of where I am in this essay. I don't know. I feel bad not reading it because I feel like I should maybe get some context, but I don't know. If for some reason it's just, it was going over my head the first time I tried this. So I'm considering just diving in. So I'm trying to psych myself up that this isn't going to be a total bore because I know there's some cool stuff in here. So I'm just trying to psych myself up for this one. Okay, a couple more sci-fi fantasy on my list. I have had this book from my neighbor for I think a year now, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. My book club, we read it 1 month and I ended up just not getting around to it, and I think I ended up actually being sick when we met, and so it just kind of fell through anyway. But I had borrowed it from my neighbor and she was like, oh, just keep it, and you know, some whenever you finish it, give it back, and if I am in the mood to read it, I'll let you know. So I got 62 pages in, but I don't know, for some reason I was not gripped by it. Like, I just wasn't very interested in the stakes of the plot. So I think I'm going to need to start it over when I get into it. But I've just heard such good things about this, so I'm hoping it's good. And honestly, I tend to read a lot more fantasy than sci-fi, so I'm hoping to like get a little more sci-fi in my reading if I can. So I don't know. I keep putting this off because I'm more interested in the other things already on my list, but this is always in my pile because I mean, I have access to it from my dear kind neighbor and I should take advantage of it. Well, I can't. Speaking of my book club, I am going to have a lot of other books thrown in throughout the year that my book club decides to read, so there's going to be a bit of a mix in there. Okay, I also have had this book for a few years. It's called Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, and I just picked this up at a writing conference that I was at. It just seemed kind of interesting, and I had a bit of a book budget, so I decided to pick it up. And I don't really know anything about it. I mean, I don't know much about it. There's the summary on the back. It sounded cool at the time. I've never read this author before, and it's once in a while when I look at it, I just get nervous because I worry if it's not as good as I thought it would be, you know? But it has like a little, what's the word? like a recommendation from Marissa Meyer. She said that it's great, and I love Marissa Meyer. Like, I have a bunch of her books on my shelf. So I'm really hoping that if Marissa Meyer likes it that much, hopefully I do too. So I need to stop forgetting about this one and stop like being nervous about it and just, again, psych myself up for it and get excited. Also, I forgot to pull these out earlier, but I'm really excited to dive into what's this called? The Book of the Ancestor series by Mark Lawrence. I picked these up at a library sale for like $1 each, and I was like, a whole series for $3? Great. I really loved Mark Lawrence's The Library series last year. It was my first introduction to him, so I figured let's dive into another series of him sometime. So hopefully I'll get around to these ones soon too. I also have a few non-fantasy books on my list, believe it or not. One of my dear friends at a conference recently gave me her memoir that she had told me about. It has something to do with motherhood and her journey through motherhood. I have a lot of thoughts about motherhood too, so I'm really interested to see what she's put into this, and I'm excited to read it. Lies of the Magpie by Malia Day Warner. I've also been borrowing this book from my mom for like 3 years and I haven't given it back to her yet because I haven't finished reading it. I actually started it about a year ago, I think, and petered out a little bit. It's Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson. It's one of those like Jane Austen era type books, and there's a really, really great BBC series that they made based off of these stories, and it's a really, really good show. And so I thought, oh, I should read the book that it's based off. And I learned quickly that it's not so like dramatic and scripted as the show is. It's actually a very slice of life, cozy, long book where you're just kind of like seeing people in their everyday lives, and there's almost no plot to it so far. Like, it's 1% plot so far and 99% slice of life. So I haven't been in the mood for it for a long time, but it's still on my list because I need to give it back to my mom someday. And I really do love diving into this era of books, so I'm trying to, again, psych myself up for it when I'm in the mood. I've also had The Secret Garden on my list for a long time because I love the musical so much, and I've never read the book. So I've tried a couple times over the years and just have never gotten into it. So I'm like, someday it's gonna happen. I'm gonna read the book. Okay, sorry, I got interrupted by my baby, who is now hanging out in the bassinet over there, smiling at me, and she might make an appearance. But we're gonna try to finish this up. So, okay, a few more things that I am really excited to read this next year. I forgot, I really want to reread Trust of the Emerald Sea. It was my favorite of the secret projects that Sanderson did during his year of Sanderson, and I also have this German copy that I'm hoping to read alongside it, so hopefully that happens sometime soon. No idea what. Maybe that will be right after my void of finishing Wind and Truth. Who knows? And then there are some new releases that I am really looking forward to this year. Like I mentioned before, Mark Lawrence's The Library series. The third book is coming out this year. I think it's called The Book That Held Her Heart. I am so excited to see how this series concludes. I think it's going to be great. And Brandon Sanderson has another secret project coming out this year, goodness, The Isles of the Emberdark, and I pre-ordered it, and very excited to see what he has in store there. I also have a really good friend whose book I pre-ordered on a Kickstarter, and it's called The Pyromancer's Scroll, coming out this year, and he's a great writer, and his style to me feels a lot like Brandon Sanderson's style, and like the things that he loves to focus on, like interesting world building and really uplifting themes and things like that. Oh no. So I'm really excited to read his book and see what he's got in store. I also heard a rumor that Evan Winter is going to finish the Burning series. It's coming out with me. I heard somebody mention that they think his third book in the Burning series is coming out this year. Where is it? It's down here. And I would love for that to be true and for that book to come out and to finish the series, because I really enjoyed the first two books, and I'm really eager to see where the third book goes. So hopefully that's true. I'm also interested in more things coming from Naomi Novik. I know she recently released a short story collection, so I'm going to have to see if I can get my hands on that. And there's a million other books that I can mention that I'm really interested in reading, but that's the bulk of my physical TBR list and some new releases that I'm interested in. Wow, I've got a lot of reading to do, but I'm really excited for all these books and excited to be sprinkling in some other books in ebook and audiobook format as I go. And so wish me luck with getting through all of this. And I would love to hear if you are interested in reading any of these books, or if you've already read some of these books and what you thought. If you have more recommendations for me, maybe I shouldn't ask for more recommendations because I already have a big list. But you know us book people, we can't get enough recommendations, right? So I am going to see you later and get to my giant TBR. All right, let's pass more books. See ya.